Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Cryptoinsightuk here, bringing you back another episode of the Weekly Roundup podcast. This week, as you can see, I am not actually joined by Pav. I am joined by Anna, who is my sister. Anna, do you want to introduce yourself?
So gotta do that.
Good evening.
Can we start again?
Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Cryptoinsightuk here, bringing you back another YouTube video. We're doing the Weekly Roundup this week, but as you can obviously see, I'm not joined by Pav. I'm actually joined by Anna, who is my sister. Anna, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
How do you feel about being on the Weekly Roundup podcast?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous, guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes Pav's got to take a day off, so someone's got to step up.
Pav is in Amsterdam on holiday, and we're in Australia, so the time difference is really hard to record when we're both free. But enough about that. Well, this week's not going to be that long because there hasn't been that much news. Everyone's been off for Christmas break, just like you should be. Everyone should be relaxing away from their phones and screens. Not too much is happening in crypto. If you're not already following me on Twitter, that's where I give most of my updates. Have a look at that at Cryptoinsightuk. But getting back to this, so Anna, what has been your experience with crypto so far? We're just going to have a bit more of a relaxed podcast this week. We've got a little bit of news to cover. We're going to cover some XRP news towards the end and a little bit about Brazil. We talked about this a bit last week. But anyway, what is your crypto experience so far? Talk to me.
The journey's been emotional, Will. Very emotional. You know, we've been up, down, side, you know. Can we get any lower down is the question. But I sense 2023 is the year. It's the year.
What for?
To the moon. To the actual moon.
XRP again.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, we both
exactly.
got XRP tattoos. We're not just putting it like a fly on our arm.
Squished. Woo! No, definitely. There's definitely going to be some big things happening next year, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm a bit bored of this sidestepping downward movement that always seems to happen since I've been interested in crypto. So
Yeah, maybe you're the lucky curse.
yeah, okay. Stunning.
Working for like a startup company. Can you explain to us what you did before, what your life experience is, and then what you are doing there right now?
Well, cool. That's a lot of questions for one question. Basically, I'm working for a startup company that works in like 4 different sectors, basically, literally from like health to gaming. So it's a really interesting company to work for. Previously, before I left the UK, I worked in, well, I still guess I'm a fashion designer, but fashion designer specifically for sportswear, hence why Will is always wearing sportswear clothing. You know, small perks of the job. And then, what was the other question?
What did you do before that?
Fashion designer.
Before
that, I was at university. So I did a 4-year course of fashion design at university. It was intense.
I think you missed out the most important part about your current job though. Like, who are they merging with at the minute?
They're currently starting a project where they're going to launch in the metaverse. So this is like a new kind of project that they're starting to work on. So it could be very exciting of what 2023 could bring for them and for me with that company. But, you know, only time will tell. So.
Yeah, and like this is one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you about it is because you haven't got a Web3 or like technology based background, but it's sort of merging the all different traditional worlds into one. I know you've applied for this job and probably been pressured into it a little bit by me when we were together. You applied for it, but it's taking your transferable skills from Web 2 and the internet that you've learned using like apps like Clo that you use all the time for fashion design and taking them into like the Web 3 world. So how do you find that like transition? What do you think is going to happen in the future along those lines?
Well, I guess something that I'm quite lucky about is that I learned how to use like 3D software for clothing, which obviously will help a lot in the metaverse because, you know, as we all know, a lot of people express themselves through clothing, whether that be like something quite wacky or something quite toned down. So I don't even know what the question was now. I've gone off on that tangent, so that's a nice answer.
No, just saying, how do you think that transition is going to go? But also, I want to ask another question. How is it for you in terms of, you've been thinking inside like almost like a box for this whole time during like during your fashion career, you've been thinking, I'm going to start that again because the computer went off. So I want to take that down a different route. So you've been thinking like kind of within a box as far as your fashion career has gone so far. And by that, what I mean is you've been thinking of how to design different garments or clothes that fit on a human being. When we move into the metaverse, you have literally floor for complete imagination. Do you think that's going to be a barrier to anyone, to you specifically, or do you think that's something that you want to work with and it makes it better for you?
I think for me personally, it's probably going to be easier for me to express like more conceptual designs than it will be for people that have been in the industry for like a number of years now, because at university you're very much pushed towards doing something a bit more like arty and like out there, a bit more not so conventional, sorry. And so my brain's still not like fully trained into that. Like it is a bit, because you know you're a bit more like, oh yeah, but this wouldn't sell, but you need to get out of that mindset because it probably will in the metaverse. Like people will wear whatever they want, like, and it won't necessarily look good. It's just something to try and like I said, express themselves through clothing. So there might be some weird and wonderful pieces out there, but you never know.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Also not as well.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a lot when you were at your previous company. Is like they weren't really exploring metaverse options too much, and a lot of other retailers, especially sportswear brands around them, were like Nike, Adidas, those sorts of people. And
players.
We're also seeing the movement from like, I think the demand being more in Web3 than in Web2 in the physical world, because the pricing online was a lot more expensive than like a tracksuit in the shop. So for example, if you use Adidas into the metaverse collection, their Adidas Originals collection, it was going for like $1,500-$2,000 for the tracksuit and the NFT, obviously, with other generative things that came with that. But then an Adidas tracksuit in the shop's like £30, and it shows that big like difference between where the future's going, because people are willing to spend more money on that online. And then that's kind of now transitioned in a few years. How long you've been working in the industry? You've only been employed for like a year and a half after uni, haven't you? So within that really, really short amount of time, you're now at a different company who obviously are a startup and forward looking, but they're now transitioning at least a section of their branch or merging with someone to look straight into the metaverse. What do you see as the future of fashion, and how do you think that this is going to transition into the future of fashion? And are they going to go hand in hand? What do you think will happen there?
I think the future of fashion is definitely digital. It has to be, because it's like working 3D is such like a more sustainable way of working. It cuts out like fast protos, which like basically because you work in like a 2D window and a 3D window. So basically you like draw each pattern piece and then you see it on like almost like it's on an avatar. So it's almost a bit like the Sims that you put in the clothes onto. So basically, even just by almost creating the pattern initially, you send that straight off to a manufacturer, you're at least shortening the sampling time and so it's faster. It's a faster way of working to get to the final product, and it's also like a more sustainable way because you're cutting out the amount of times that you have to get a sample to readjust it to like send it back. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely the way forward is going digital. Well, 3D especially, because it makes a lot of sense. Also, it's such a better like visual of like trying to get your design across.
Yeah, cool. I can understand that. I mean, I'm not very creative myself, but it seems pretty cool. And then, so we're going to touch slightly onto this topic in front of us, but it says Brazil securities regulator allows investment funds to invest into crypto. And the reason I want to touch on this is because I want your perspective on like what you think is going to happen with countries coming into crypto in 2023. So obviously in 2022, we saw El Salvador, maybe that was 2021, but I think it was 2022. We saw El Salvador legalize Bitcoin as legal tender, and then we also saw the Central African Republic also recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. Do you think and how many countries do you think may or may not legalize crypto this year? We obviously saw Bitcoin for the payment side of it in Brazil now, but who's going to legalize it for legal tender? Is anyone?
Oof, I don't know. You could see some big players, coming out. You never know. You know what? I wouldn't be that surprised if the UK came out and was like saying that they're going to put it into play.
Why is that? Rishi?
Yeah, Good old Rish.
Rishi Sunak coming out. I just spat everywhere.
No change, sure. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea.
And then off the back of that, do you think it's going to be all Bitcoin, or what do you think the future holds for XRP specifically?
Well, like this year that's come out, was it Balmain and what was the other big designer that we're going to use XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin? Was it something else? Do you not remember the article?
No. I know Balmain are talking about using the XRP ledger.
Yeah.
And we've both claimed our thread, haven't we? Have you claimed your thread NFT?
What? No, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Oh, you can get a thread NFT on the XRP ledger.
Link me, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, you know what? He's up there. XRP's up there.
What about in terms of price action against other cryptos in the market this year?
Well, it all depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's get into that now.
It all depends.
Let's get into that now.
It all depends.
Let's have a look what's going
on. The old Big
So-
Gaza.
Yeah, that's Gary Gensler for those of you who don't know. So Ripple expanded into Malaysia. Ripple's a 40% stakeholder in Tranglo. Tranglo also settled many transactions using ODL, thus directly leveraging and settling through XRP. Growth continues. So basically, Ripple through Tranglo have expanded into Malaysia. Today you showed me this article, didn't you?
Yes.
This is basically going to allow people in Malaysia to use ODL through Tranglo to settle cross-border transactions. And it says that Malaysia are the biggest growing country in the Asian region. And finally, so this is what we were going to talk about. I think I've shit my pants.
Oh boy.
No, this is what I tweeted.
Definitely no change.
Ripple CEO Brad Gardenhouse just liked to tweet about a YouTube settlement that he tweeted 1.5 years ago. So I actually went on to tweet Brad about this, saying, Brad, what is going on? So Brad, if you're watching this podcast, what are you doing here? Because you've made us in the XRP community really start to speculate more about a potential settlement. We've been talking about it. I've been talking about it a lot in the last few days. But if you look here,
Got us all thinking.
From March of 2021, bear in mind we're at the end of 2022, he's liked his own tweet about a settlement that Ripple had.
2 whole years.
Yeah, Ripple had with
2 whole
YouTube. Ripple basically was suing YouTube to do with bots and fake people on their site. They came to a settlement with YouTube. YouTube paid them, etc. Why is he like this now? What do you think is going on?
He is stirring the cauldron, isn't he? It's bubbling away.
Why has he done that?
I don't know. He's just playing with our emotions, isn't
He is playing with our emotions.
Yeah, what? Something could be happening. But then also, he's purposefully searched for that specifically because it's who scrolls that far down their own
Especially when his last like before that was something from 2023. December the 23rd.
Like, even if you're just having a stalk of yourself, you never go that far down.
Nah, no one goes that far down. It's a specific.
Even when you're bored.
It's a specific tweet.
That's what I'm saying.
But why has he liked it? Is there a settlement?
Gary, you tell us, honey.
That's Brad.
Oh shit. My bad, dyslexic. Brad, I don't know.
You don't know why?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so if we do have a settlement.
Yeah, what do you know why?
No, I have no idea.
Exactly.
If we do have a settlement, where's XRP price going?
I think $5.
In how long?
In 2 weeks.
In $5 in 2 weeks after settlement. You heard it here first.
Exactly.
And with that, I think we'll probably sum up this week's episode of the Weekly Roundup. Do you have anything that you want to ask me?
Yeah, why do you like tomato ketchup so much?
It's the best condiment in the world.
Everyone tell us, what do you think the best condiment
What's your
in the
favourite
world
condiment?
is? I think it's definitely garlic mayo.
Yeah, but it gives
Just
you
so
bad
that-
breath.
Yeah, and tastes great.
All right, and with that, we're going to leave it there. And where can people find you if they want to find? You've actually made a social media account. Where can people find
recently. So new to the game. Shout out to the big bro for that one. So is it Cryptoinsightuk? I think it is.
I'll put
on
your link in the
Twitter.
description
Yeah,
anyway.
you know what?
What is it?
Here's a sneak preview. Here we go, guys. Just in case anyone wanted to see. There we go. It actually is Cryptoinsightuk.
No one cared.
Okay,
and
great.
with that, guys, thank you very much for listening to this week's Weekly Roundup. Next week, hopefully, we'll be back with Pab, although I'm still in Australia until the 7th of January. So we may have to do an episode 2, or maybe we meet you and Pav could do another episode. That could be spicy. And with that, it's peace up, A-Town down from me.
And XRP Army. Let's go.